2 days after the fighter jet was shot down by Iran, the United States has successfully rescued a second crew member. This pilot had ejected from the downed F-15E fighter jet. He was inside Iran for about 48 hours or a little less than that. There was heavy firefight that ensued with Iranian forces, but the United States managed to extract him from behind enemy lines. President Trump confirmed that the second crew member was located behind enemy lines and was extracted safely. The airman who sustained injuries is now safe, is what Donald Trump confirmed. Unverified visuals showed a US C-130 aircraft, two Black Hawk helicopters flying at low altitude over southern Iran as they continued with that rescue mission to recover the downed crew. Meanwhile, the IRGC claims that one of these US aircraft that was searching for the pilot that was involved in this rescue mission was intercepted and destroyed south of Isfahan, adding further tension to the ongoing crisis. So let's take a look at what exactly has transpired over the last few hours as the United States rushed against time to try and locate its pilot and eventually exfiltrate the entire team out of Iran. There was heavy fire engagement between the US and Iranian forces, and it wasn't an easy mission for that pilot to be located and for him to be taken out from behind enemy lines into safer ground. This is that firefight video that went down just a few minutes before the United States could actually locate the pilot and bring him out to safety. There is an unverified video that's doing the rounds as well that a C-130 Black Hawk was used for the rescue by the United States. We don't know just yet if what kind of role that particular chopper played, but this C-130 Black Hawk was used for rescue by the United States, and that's something that has been confirmed, at least in terms of these visuals that are doing the rounds on social media. So far, we don't know whether or not there is a confirmation coming in from the United States. Now, the Iranian media, though, is claiming that one of the US aircraft that was involved in the rescue mission was actually shot down. They claim that this was brought down by the Iranian forces in that gunfight that ensued while the United States was conducting this entire operation. Now, the Iranian parliament speaker has taken to social media and has gone on to say that if the United States gets 3 more such victories like this, the Iran will be utterly ruined. That's the first big confirmation that has come in from the Iranian side, perhaps, to kind of show where exactly this entire war seems to be headed. My colleague Akash is joining us, getting us more inputs and perspective into what exactly transpired. Now, we're seeing the kind of debris, we're seeing the kind of terrain as well. If you could give us a sense to our viewers as to what it would have taken for the US forces in a terrain like this to exfiltrate that pilot.
Right. So it is, of course, a difficult mission, and as far as this operation is concerned, so it was one of the daring, operations by the U.S. forces. This is particularly the visual. In fact, starting from this one, this was the visual, that we got from the Iranian media, and it's an unverified video. But yes, confirmation came after the video where U.S. President somewhere acknowledged that how the operation was conducted by the U.S. forces. C-130, remember, is a transport aircraft, Poonam, and C-130 is an aircraft, which is generally used for paratroopers whenever you are trying to insert the soldiers in terrain, so you generally use C-130. Other than that, we have this particular video. Once again, the unverified video, but there are claims. In fact, CNN put out this video as well, saying that how Black Hawk helicopters and C-130 aircraft was very much flying at low altitude in Iran. And then we got the debris where there was a claim that Iran has shot down one of the aircraft. That was a very part of the entire mission. We haven't got any sort of confirmation, but yes, there we can see, in fact, the visuals, smoke coming out. In fact, these were the photos, a series of photos, Poonam, where there was a claim that these aircraft, in fact, C-130, one aircraft, and then 2 Black Hawk helicopters were, in fact, shot down by the Iranian forces. This was a claim. And then, we had the speaker, in fact, confirming that how, in fact, an ironical tweet came. And in fact, this was the visual that he posted on Twitter, saying that if this is what your victory looks like, then, we are, of course, waiting. Since morning, we have been discussing, Poonam, the kind of difficult, operation that was conducted by U.S. forces, the participation of aircraft like C-130 and Black Hawk helicopters, and then the claims and counterclaims. Till yesterday, Iran had an upper hand as far as narrative war is concerned. They said that we have shot down 2 aircraft. in fact, F-15, 1 and then A-10 as well. And today we have US forces somewhere carrying out this ground operation to rescue the second pilot who was in fact missing. These two, in fact, pilots were a very part of that F-15 that was initially shot down by the Iranian forces, Poonam.
Absolutely. Akash, thank you so much for getting us those inputs and putting that in perspective for us. This is a moment in war where, at least for the last 24 hours, it looked like Iran held the leverage because it was believed that there were at least 2 American pilots that were behind enemy lines, that Iran had control over those. But all of that changed in the last 6 to 8 hours this morning. And to put that in perspective, Colonel Rohit Dev is also joining us here on this broadcast. So thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. How do you look at this dynamics of the war as it stands today? Like I said, from, say, yesterday afternoon till about this morning, it looked like Iran would have had some leverage in this war, that would be the defining moment, that there were 2 pilots in Iran's custody. But all of that changed this morning.
I don't think so much has changed, actually. One pilot in custody, that's not the one who has been extracted. The one who has been extracted, as per news, is the one who was in the wilderness with his location being mapped out by the US military. And they conducted an operation to extract him from that location. So it's not a leverage issue here. The leverage is quite different. The leverage is in many dimensions, including the geopolitical dimension, where Iran retains the threat in being on the Gulf countries to carry out actions commensurate with the military actions of the United States, and insofar as their targeting of civilian infrastructure and assets is concerned. It also has the leverage today that it controls the Gulf of Hormuz and a lot of economic hue and cry globally because of that. And while a country like US may think it is, sort of not affected directly, but I can tell you the calculations of their, entire apparatus from their SPR and whatever they are holding in terms of crude and the ability to extract and drill. It's not going to be enough for themselves beyond 126-25 days period today. And certainly there is no way that they can help the pain point which has been caused by this war for Europe. And the Asian countries separate because China, India got access to oil. They will help their other friendly countries in Southeast Asia. The Russian story has turned absolutely dramatically in the last 1 month. We've also found, points to open up with Algeria, Guyana, and everybody else as Indians. But that is not the same story for Europe yet. So I think this entire wedge which has been drawn because of this war, because of Iran's, I will say, a very different kind of operational kind of tactic, where they have not gone beyond a point calling it an eye for an eye today, but they do retain a tremendous capability to strike US assets, friendly assets of US in the Gulf and other places where they may be. You just saw a glimpse of the downing of those, 4 assets and 2 getting damaged a couple of hours ago as well, maybe last afternoon or maybe earlier, where they tried to go into the Larak, Hormuz, that kind of a triangle with Keshem, and at Keshem they had that casualty. So no matter what assets you have, the capability remains with a high potency with the United States to cause destruction, and that destruction is going to be caused by indirect fire. Unfortunately, thus so far, what they have done has had a lot of casualties of the Iranian regime, military assets, and things like that. But at the same side, they have conducted missions which have caused tremendous collateral damage. Now, that is not the way the world will eventually look at it. So while you have all means necessary kind of a resolution being proposed by the Gulf, which has got toned down to from Chapter 7 to lesser at the UN SC. The United States itself would be under pressure from its allies because there's a disjoint today between the NATO countries. So Trump is taking a different high horse. The European Union and the NATO countries are thinking of more pragmatic solutions. You have heard what Macron has said. Macron has said very categorically, secession is the first step. So I think no matter the 6th of April deadline approaching tomorrow, and Trump has made the threats already known that there will be hell to pay. I'm not too sure who's going to talk to him because negotiations and dialogues happen when you have the second party there. And it's not for the Iranians who are saying that we don't want to talk to you. But the point is, had the Iranians gone to Pakistan and knowing what Pakistan is, there was a threat to their being as leadership again. So when the propensity is to that level that United States wants to annihilate the regime, the regime or whatever is left of it cannot take the risk of being in the open. So there are going to be no talks and other alignments. Yes,
So then where
Russia
does
has
the
made
war
a
go
very,
from here
very
on,
clear.
Colonel Dev, then? It's been 33
So, so,
days and
so,
Donald Trump says the clock is ticking. He has another 24 hours to go for the deadline that he had set for Hormuz. But fighting is escalating and there seems to be no breakthrough or even any
right,
movement at all on
right.
diplomacy.
So there are many options. Donald Trump is under two or three kinds of pressure. One is the internal pressure, where the pressure created this war. That is that pressure. Then there's a pressure today because he has been called out to be weak, not to be able to take decisions for boots on ground and blah 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 from a lot of global community. I think his off ramp includes some military action on the sidelines, hitting some missile bases, some isolated military posts along the borders of Tehran from maybe all sides, sea, and then he will make it look like a very nice perception around the world. That is what the hell I meant to pay for Iran, and then he may just get an off ramp to go off. This is something you're looking at next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or less, or maybe a few days in case he has some sanity coming back to him. But the problem is his eye is on the midterm elections beyond a point because there are too many people going to be subpoenaed and taken to action by the Congress soon. So November is very far. And Donald Trump, with the reserves he holds, even if he doesn't sell 1 inch of anything to anybody else in terms of crude and gas to anybody in the world, wants to sustain the US economy alone with the current capability to drill, they're going to last 130 days. 130 days as per calendar is about 3.5 months. 3.5 months does not take you to even the winter break getting over for the children of universities in the United States. So November is far away.
Correct.
So he has to decide how does he want to close and get an off ramp. The world is offering none. He called his NATO allies. They have taken a different direction. Steimer has called for a 35 country plus India to be co-opted in terms of getting the cessation of hostilities going down. But India can talk to Iran. UK can talk to Iran as well. But who's going to talk to Mr. Trump and tell him that the path you're taking is for your isolation, not only of you as a country, as a leader, but also in the future of the US economy and the petrodollar. And that's under threat as well. If it doesn't realize
And many
that
would say
with the
Donald Trump
current
doesn't listen to
stack
his own
valuation.
advisors, let alone listen to anyone else in the world, as long as his own agenda is being fulfilled here. Unfortunately, I'm out of time, Colonel Dev, but I have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us here and sharing your perspective.